Okay, so let us start. So today we are going to discuss lecture number 5, link state dynamic routing. Okay, so this is the title of this particular lecture. Now, before discussing about the link state dynamic routing, we are going to discuss about the basic things. Okay, you can see types of routing protocols. In the last class, that means in the last two classes, okay, we have configured three different types of routing. So the first one is the static. Okay, static routing we have done. Then we have done the default routing. Okay, default routing, we created the default routing. That means it will be like 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, so default routing we have done. Then we discussed about the RIP protocol. Okay, RIP protocol we discussed. So these are the three things we discussed in the last lecture. Okay, if you see routing protocols, we are going to have three different methods. Okay, or three different routings. Okay, we can say three different types of routing. So first one is the static routing. So the static routing already we have completed. Then default routing. Default routing also we already completed in the last class. Then we are going for the dynamic. So here in static, you have to do everything manually. So the administrator is going to configure all the routes, whatever the route you need, you have to configure. The administrator will configure here. Same thing the default. In the default routing also, the administrator is going to configure everything manually. Now, going for the third one, which is the dynamic. In the dynamic one, the administrator is going to enable the routing protocols. There will be some protocols, routing protocols. If you enable the routing protocol, it is enough. The routing protocol will take care of everything. Okay, the routing protocol is going to exchange the information with them, and the routing protocol will create the routing table. The routing protocol will give the shortest path to you. So everything the routing protocol is going to take. So that is called the dynamic one. Now, if you take dynamic routing protocol, there are two different types available. Okay, yeah, please.
You can record the lecture.
Yeah, recording is going on. I'm recording actually. I'm recording my side. Don't worry. I'm recording. Recording is going on. Okay, yeah. So if you go for dynamic, okay, if you go for dynamic, okay, can you see the slides? Can you see the Word document? Can you see the Word document, please?
Yes, Mr. Yes.
Okay, no need to record. I am recording my side. Okay, I am using a different tool today to record it. It will be very clear. Okay, so if you go for dynamic, there are two different types available. Okay, dynamic routing protocols. Okay, there are two different types available. Okay, you can see here dynamic routing protocols. This and this, it is the same diagram. Now I'm going for the dynamic routing protocols. So dynamic routing protocols, we are dividing into two groups. Okay, we are dividing the dynamic routing protocols, okay, into two groups. So the first group is called IGPs. Okay, IGPs. So IGP means interior gateway protocol. Okay, interior gateway protocol. And EGP means exterior gateway protocol. So these are the two groups. Okay, we are dividing the dynamic routing protocols into two groups. One is the interior gateway protocols and second one is the exterior gateway protocols. Okay, so what is interior gateway protocols means? These protocols will be used, okay, inside a group of routers. Okay, so this concept you will understand it later. Okay, you cannot understand it now, but there is no issues. So internal gateway means, okay, I'll just give you a small diagram. You can see this is a group of routers. Okay, this is one group. In this group, I'm having so many routers I'm going to have. So this is a group of routers I'm going to have. Now, I'm going to have another group of routers here. This is the second group of routers. Okay, this is router 1, router 2, okay, router 3, router 4. Okay, this is the another group of routers. Now, these two groups, okay, I want to exchange some data, okay, I want them to communicate means, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep a router here, then I'm going to keep a router in this place. So these two routers I'm going to connect so that all the routers inside they can communicate with others. Okay, now if you see interior gateway protocols will be used in this place. Within the groups, we are going to use the interior gateway protocols. Okay, and here also I'm going to use the interior gateway protocols I'm going to use in this particular place. Okay, interior gateway protocols. Then where the exterior routing protocols will be used means between these groups. Now in this place, okay, here and here, okay, or I can write it here. So inside this, okay, in this place, that means connecting place. So here I'm going to use the exterior gateway routing protocol. So we are going to study only the interior gateway routing protocols we are going to study. We are not studying the exterior gateway routing protocols in this course. Okay, so interior gateway routing protocols, there are two different types. Again, I'm dividing into two different types. Okay, what is the first type? The first type is called distance vector routing protocols. This is the distance vector routing protocol. Then the second group is link state routing protocol. Okay, so there are two different types available in the interior gateway protocol itself. We are having two different types. So what is the first type means? That is DVR, distance vector routing protocols, DVR protocols. Then one more group is called link state. Okay, link state is going to be the second one. So in this lecture, what we are going to study means we are going to study about the link state only. Okay, the main, okay, if you see the title of this lecture, it is the link state dynamic routing. Okay, we are going to talk about the link state protocols only, but some points we are going to discuss about the distance vector also. Okay, now, so we divide, okay, interior gateway protocols into two types. One is the distance vector and second one is the link state routing protocol. Okay, now you can see the examples. These are all the example routing protocols. So distance vector routing protocol, the example is RIP or IP. This is what we discussed in the last class, RIP protocol. So RIP protocol is a distance vector routing protocol. Distance, okay, RIP protocol is a interior gateway routing protocol. RIP protocol is a dynamic routing protocol. Okay, in RIP there are two different versions available. Okay, V1 and V2. There are two versions of RIP available. So you can, okay, there are a lot of difference available, but we are not studying in this course. So there are two different versions available in the RIP itself, V1 and V2. Version 1 and version 2. Then the next protocol is IGRP. IGRP is an example for distance vector routing protocol. So what is IGRP means? Internal gateway, okay, or interior gateway routing protocol. Interior gateway routing protocol, you can see here, interior gateway routing protocol, or stands for routing protocol. Then after IGRP, okay, in IGRP they have done some changes. Okay, we have a new version called EIGRP. So EIGRP means enhanced, okay, enhanced interior gateway routing protocol. Then if you go for the link state routing protocol, what is the example for the link state means? OSPF is the example. Then ISIS is the example. Okay, all these things are examples. Now, if you go for the exterior gateway routing protocol, we have only one type, that is called path vector routing protocol. For path vector routing protocol, the example is BGP, border gateway protocol. Now, in this course, what we are going to study means you are going to study RIP version 1 you are studying. Then, okay, we are going to study about OSPF. Only these two routing protocols we are going to study. Okay, so in the last class I discussed, okay, we discussed about the RIP, how to configure the RIP and all we discussed. The next two lectures, this lecture is a theory lecture. Okay, we are not going to do any lab here. It is going to be completely a theory part. But in the next lecture, that means lecture number 6 and lecture number 7, we are going to talk about OSPF. how to configure the OSPF protocol. So 2 lectures we are going to discuss. Okay, so this is a small introduction. Okay, you can just have a look, you can understand very easily. Okay, these are the terms, the key terms you have to keep it in your mind. Okay, the key terms are very important. Okay, so distance vector, link state, hybrid. For distance vector, what is the example? Okay, in multiple choice questions. Okay, these are all multiple choice questions. Okay, RIP version 2 is an example for what type of routing protocol. Okay, ISIS is a what type of protocol. Okay, you will be like multiple choice questions. There are plenty of option chances available here. So this is about the introduction, the basic things. Now I'm going for the next one. What is the difference? Okay, so teacher, you told dynamic, that means a distance vector. Okay, it is not dynamic, distance vector. So distance vector routing protocol and link state routing protocol. So here we are going to study the RIP. Okay, and link state we are going to study about the OSPF. Okay, what is the difference between these two, teacher? Okay, what is the difference between the distance vector routing protocol and link state routing protocol? Okay, what is the differences? Okay, now we are going to have a table. So the differences are given here. So let me go for the basic difference first. What does that means? So distance vector routing protocol is suitable for a simple network, a very simple network. Okay, flat design. So flat design means the network which is very clear, a flat design network. Okay, then a network which is non-hierarchy. So there is no rules, no proper rules available. Okay, there is no proper rules available. Okay, very simple networks. If it is a very simple network, you can go for the distance vector routing protocol. There is no hierarchy. Okay, so minimum administrator knowledge. Okay, that means I am a beginner. I am a beginner, so I'm going to just start, means you can go for the distance vector. Okay, this is easy to admin. Okay, minimum administrator knowledge, and convergence is not an issue. So what is this convergence? This is a very important term. Okay, this term I will explain to you in the next class in the lab. Okay, while doing the lab, I will explain to this. What is this convergence? I will explain. So convergence time is not an issue here. Okay, you no need to worry about the convergence time. Okay, no need to worry about the convergence time, means you can go for the distance vector. So distance vector routing protocol, it is going to be a simple. If your network is very simple, you can use distance vector. If your network is having a very flat design, okay, there is no complex things, there is no hierarchy. Okay, so I don't have much knowledge about the routing protocols, you can go for distance vector. So distance vector is very much suitable for the beginners. Then if you are going for the link state routing protocol, so this is usually applied for a large network. If the network size is large, okay, if the network size is large, okay, the number of networks is more, you can go for the link state. And here there will be some hierarchical networks. Hierarchy means some levels. Okay, top level, next level, next level, some levels will be maintained here. Then advanced administrator knowledge, the knowledge must, okay, that means the administrator must have more knowledge about these protocols. And then convergence time is very crucial, very important. If you give more importance for the convergence time, okay, don't mistake me, you can see what is convergence time later, no need to worry about it. So convergence time is important. If the convergence time is very important, means you can go for the link state. So this is the basic difference. Okay, the basic difference. Now we can go for the technical differences. Okay, what are the technical differences? You can see in the distance vector, the routers communicate with the neighbor routers, advertising the networks as a measure of distance and vector. That means the routers, they are going to communicate only with the neighbors. Only with the neighbors means what is that? You can see I'm having a diagram here. So R2, this is the topology diagram. R2 is going to communicate with R1. R2 is going to communicate with R5. Okay, that means R2 is going to tell I have 10 network, I have 20 network. So simply it will just give the data to the neighbors. Okay, it will give the neighbors, okay, the data to the neighbors. Now you see, so routers communicate with the neighbor routers, advertising the networks as a measure of distance and vector. They are using two terms, distance and vector. What is this distance and vector? We can see it here. Now, if you go for the link state, in a link state, you can see routers communicate with all other routers. This is the important point. A single router is going to communicate, it is going to communicate with all the other routers for exchanging some data. Okay, for exchanging some data. Okay, for exchanging some data. That means you see in this diagram, if you take R2, R2 will communicate with everyone. R2 will communicate with R1, R2 will communicate with R4, R1 will communicate with R5, R1 will communicate with R3. So with all the routers, okay, a single router is going to communicate. So this is going to be, okay, a link state routing protocol. Okay, this is the point. Now, we are going for the next point. Here, we are using the distance and metric. Distance is equal to metric. Okay, what is distance? Means, here the concept here, you are going to use a concept called distance. Okay, what is the distance means? Okay, you can see here. I'll explain. I want to go from R2 to R3. I want to travel. Okay, from R2 to R3 I want to travel. Okay, now ultimately what your packet will do means your packet will see the distance. What is the distance means? So from here to here, this is 1. The jump equal to 1. So I make it 1. Then from here to here, okay, the distance is equal to 1. Again 1. So 1 plus 1 equal to 2. This is my distance. Suppose if I use another path, okay, I'm going to use this path. Now you see, this is 1, okay, and this is going to be 2, and this is going to be 3. So now if I come in this path, okay, totally I am going to have 3, the distance is equal to 3. So which one I'm going to select means I'm going to select this one, okay, because this is going to be less value. Now, what is distance means? Distance is nothing, the number of hops. Hop means jump. If the number of hop, okay, is less, okay, then I'm going to choose this particular path. So your distance, what is the distance means? The distance will be calculated by using the hops. I want to travel from here to Muscat. Okay, I want to travel from here to Muscat. I'm going to ask how many roundabouts available. Okay, so from Sur, I'm in Sur. I want to travel to Muscat. Okay, so now to reach Muscat, I'm asking a question. How many roundabouts available? Okay, how many roundabouts available? Okay, now roundabouts equal to 10. Somebody is telling there are 10 roundabouts available. Okay, now hops equal to 10. Okay, if I go through Ibra, I'm going to go through Ibra. Okay, I'm taking that particular path from Sur to Ibra, Ibra to Muscat. How many roundabouts available? I'm asking a question. Now somebody is giving me the answer. If you go through Ibra, okay, number of hops equal to 9. Okay, number of hops equal to 9. Number of roundabouts equal to 9. You see the difference. If I use the Kuryat path, Sur to Kuryat, Kuryat to Amirat, okay, for example, 10 roundabouts. Example. If I go through Ibra, for example, okay, the number of hops is 9, means which one I will select means I will select the second one. I'm going to select the second one. This is called the distance. So how the distance will be calculated means, okay, we are not going to worry about the kilometers. So if you go in this way, it is only 200 kilometers. If you go here, 300 kilometers. But you are not going to worry about the kilometers. You are going to worry about the hops, the number of jumps. Okay, the number of jumps. So in the distance vector routing protocol, they will use the distance. So what is the distance? Distance is nothing, the number of routers you are going to jump. The number of routers you are going to jump. Okay, that is going to be my metric here. There. What is vector? Vector is nothing, direction. So direction means, you see here, I'm in this roundabout. Now I'm going to take a particular distance. I'm going to travel which direction. If I go this direction, this is let it be left. If I go in this direction, it will be right. So two things. So distance is very important. Plus vector is nothing. It is a direction. Which direction you are going to travel. So I'm coming to this roundabout. From here, I'm going in the left. Okay, I make one jump. Then in this roundabout, I'm going in the direction straight. So this is okay, left, right, you can keep it like that. And I'm going to move straight. So distance vector routing protocol is a very simple routing protocol. It will check only the number of routers, number of hops. Okay, you are going to jump. Okay, but the link state routing protocol is not like that. The link state routing protocol is not like that. So the link state routing protocol is going to use so many things, so many metrics it is going to use. What is that metric? So the metric is nothing like the bandwidth of the line. Okay, what is the bandwidth of this? Okay, what is the delay? There are so many things available. It is coming. We will see it later. So, okay, you see the same example if you take. Okay, I want to travel from here to Muscat. Okay, number of hops. If I use distance vector routing protocol, this will be selected. Sorry, this will be selected because 9. But here the kilometers is 400 kilometers. Okay, 400 kilometers. But if I go in this 300 kilometers. Okay, 200 I think, 200 kilometers. If you go through Kuriat, okay, it is 200 kilometers. Now, my link state routing protocol will select this. But the distance vector routing protocol will select this. Because the distance vector routing protocol will see only the number of routers, number of jumps. It is not going to worry about the distance. But if I go to link state routing protocol, the link state routing protocol will see the distance. Okay, it is not going to see the number of roundabouts. This is the technical difference. So link state routing protocol will work, okay, will work very in depth. Okay, it is going to see there are so many things which is called, okay, the metric. Okay, that means there are so many parameters it is going to use. We are going to see what are that later. Now, so this is the basic difference between the distance vector and link state. Now you can see the knowledge of the network from directly connected neighbors. So only the directly connected networks enough. Okay, in the distance vector, what are the directly connected networks? Okay, it is enough. The knowledge about the directly connected networks. Okay, that means see R2. Okay, it will know about R1 and R5. That's it. Because they are directly connected. If you go for R1, R1 is having the knowledge of R2, R1 is having the knowledge of R4, R1 is having the knowledge of R3. That's it. If you go for R5, R5 will have the knowledge of R2, okay? R5 will have the knowledge of R4. That's it. Only directly connected people, they know. But if you go for link state, they know about the entire topology. The knowledge of the entire topology will be available. That means if you go for R2, R2 will know the information about R1, R2 will have the knowledge of R3, R2 will have the knowledge of R5, R2 will have the knowledge of R4. So complete everybody's information will be available with R2. So it is a complicated. Link state is getting a little bit complicated, but it will be more accurate. Okay, now send periodic updates. Send periodic updates. What is that? If you go for the RIP protocol, every 30 seconds, the RIP protocol will send the packet. It will send the broadcast packet. It will send the update. So this we have seen in the last class in the lab. After completing the RIP protocol, if you enable the RIP protocol, you can see the packets, the RIP packets going on. So every 30 seconds, the RIP packets will go on. But here it is not like that. So the updates will be sent whenever triggered, whenever needed. Okay, whenever need, the update packets will go. Otherwise, okay, it will not send the packets. The routing protocol, they are not going to send unnecessary packets. Whenever need, okay, it will send the packets. So this is the basic difference between the distance vector and distance vector and link state routing protocol. Okay, now I'm moving to the next one. Okay, you can see we are going for link state routing protocol. We are going to study how the link state routing protocol is going to work. There are some steps available. Okay, all the steps we are going to discuss. Totally there are 7 steps available. This is a long answer question. Okay, explain how link state routing protocol works, or the link state routing process. Okay, link state routing process. Okay, so this is a long answer question. There are 7 steps available. All the 7 steps we are going to see here. Okay, now let me take this example first. So using the example, okay, I will explain to you in a very easy way. Now just a minute. So this is the topology diagram. The topology diagram is given to you. Can anyone, how many networks available in this topology diagram? Please count the number of networks, okay, in this topology diagram. How many networks are there? Anybody? Anyone? How many networks are there? Okay, let me count. See, this is 1. Okay, I just put the dots. This is 1. This is 2. This is 3. This is 4. This is 5. Okay, so this is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so count it again. 1. Okay, I start from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yes. So there are 11 different networks available in this, okay, topology diagram. Okay, no problem. Now what I'm going to do, listen, see the screen carefully. Now you see, for every link, okay, there is, okay, for every link there is a value given here. Okay, there is a value given here. So this is, okay, not available in the previous one. What is this value? You will understand now. So for this link, I'm giving a value 20. For this particular link, there is a value given here. Okay, and for this, okay, there is a value given here. So these values are going to be very, very important. Okay, for example, you can take the kilometers. Okay, you can take kilometers from R2 to R1. Okay, 20 kilometer. From R2 to R5, 10 kilometers. Okay, from R1 to R3, 5 kilometers. Okay, make it as a kilometers. Okay, first to understand. Now there is some value available everywhere. This is the first important point you have to note. Then now I'm going for the steps now. What is the first step? Means you can see each router learns about its own links and its own directly connected networks. This is step number 1. So every router, okay, every router, it is going to study about its own links. Okay, for example, if you take this router R1, I'm taking R1. So in R1, there are 3 links available. This is the first link, serial 0 by 0. This is the next link. This is also serial 0 by 0. And this is, okay, we can take it as fast Ethernet 0 by 0. Now about the interfaces, okay, about the links, okay, it is going to learn first. Okay, what are the different interfaces or the links which is available here? So this is going to be the first step. Every router, it is going to learn about its own link. This is step number 1. Okay, if you take this router is going to learn about all the 3 links. And this router is going to learn about 4 links. There are 4 links connected here. So about the 4 links, what are the links, okay, enabled, it is going to learn about its own links. This is step number 1. Then link plus directly connected network. Directly connected network. You can see 10.2.0.0. This network is directly connected. And 10.0.9 is, okay, it is directly connected. 10.5.0.0 is directly connected. So every router is going to learn about the links plus directly connected networks. This is step number 1. Okay, first step, every router is going to learn about the networks, the directly connected networks plus the links. Okay, their own links. So links is nothing, fast Ethernet 0 by 0, serial 2 by 0, serial 3 by 0, okay, with the clock rate. This is going to be the interface or link. Now you can see this is the step number 1. Each router learns about its own links and its own directly connected networks. Okay, I'm going for the second step. What is the second step means? Each router is responsible for meeting its neighbors on the directly connected networks. On the directly connected networks, they are going to meet the neighbors. That means R2 is going to send data, or it is going to meet R1, and R2 is going to send the data to R5. We will take only one router. We'll go with R2. So second step. What is happening means router 2 is going to learn about, or it is going to communicate with the neighbors. What are the neighbors? The neighbors are R1, then from R2 to R5. So these are the two neighbors. So with the neighbors, okay, R2 is going to communicate. This is the second step. Okay, step number 2. Then you can see each router is responsible for meeting its neighbors on directly connected networks. Very good. Then each router builds a LSP. They are going to build a packet. Okay, they are going to make a packet. Each router is going to build a packet. So the name of the packet is called link state packet. Okay, link state packet containing the state of each directly connected link. Now see, it is going to make a packet here. The name of the packet is called the LSP, link state packet, and here also it is going to use a LSP packet. So inside the LSP packet, the information about the link, okay, this is in the step number 1 we studied. Whatever we studied in the step number 1, this is going to be put it in the link state packet. The link state packet will be sent. Okay, this is going to be the third step. So step number 3, a link state packet will be created. So containing the state of each directly connected network. This is step number 3. Then the step number 4, you can see each router floods the LSP to all the neighbors. Okay, who then store all LSPs received in a database. Okay, now you can see, okay, let me change the color. See, this is my LSP packet. That means R2 is giving the LSP packet. Okay, I make it as a circle now. Okay, try to understand. Now, this is a LSP packet created by the R2 and giving to R1. Then R1 is receiving, R1 will store it. It is going to store it in a database. Then R1 will forward the same LSP packet. Okay, that means the LSP packet of R1, it will forward to, okay, the next router. Then this person is going to make a store. Okay, he is going to store the LSP of R2. Then this person is going to forward it to, okay, R3. Okay, so everybody is going to flood. Okay, it is going to flood the LSP packets everywhere. Okay, the LSP packets will be flooded to everywhere. So this is going to be the next step. Okay, that means in the fourth step, what we are doing, the LSP, okay, a router is going to send the LSP to the neighbors. The neighbors will flood it. Flooding means sending to all over the network. Then everybody is going to store it. Okay, everybody is going to store it. Okay, now just think. Now we completed R2. Same R5 is going to do. R5 is going to create its own LSP and it is going to send it to R2 and R4. So R4 is going to give it to R1. Everybody is going to. So the LSP is going to spread. Okay, so everybody is going to have the LSP of other routers. Okay, the LSP of other routers they are going to have. So this is the next step, step number 4. Then step number 5. Each router uses a database. Now every router, it is going to have a collection of LSP. Okay, it is having a collection of LSP now. So now using the LSPs, they are going to construct, they are going to make a complete map of the topology. They are going to create the entire map of the topology, and they are going to calculate, compute the best path for the each destination. So for example, you take R1 is getting the LSP of R2, R1 is getting the LSP of R5, then R4 LSP, R3 LSP, all LSP available with R1. Now this is going to make a table. Okay, then it is going to calculate the best path for all the networks. What will be the best path? So R1 is going to calculate. Same thing, every router will do it. Okay, now you see, so they are going to construct a complete map of the topology and compute and calculate or compute. You can use any word. So the best path they are going to calculate. Now building a SPF tree for each router. That means shortest path tree they are going to calculate. Now you see, this is going to be the shortest path tree. What is that? See, for R1, we are taking it for R1. Now from R1, no need to memorize, don't memorize, try to understand how it is working. Now from R1 to R2, I want to move. Okay, what is the cost? Cost means the cost is going to be, so 20, okay, 20 plus 2, 22 is the cost. Okay, I will clear everything so that you can see, okay, how it is calculating. Recording is there, no need to worry, you can see everything in the recording very clearly. Now you see, we are now in R1, we are going to talk about the R1. R1 is creating a shortest path tree, this is called the shortest path tree. Now R1 to R2, this is the first, okay, R1 to R2. So what is the cost means? The cost is 20 plus 2, 22 is the cost. Okay, 22 is the cost. Then from R1 to R3, this is R1, from R1 to R3. Okay, what is the cost means? 5 is the cost and another 2 is here. So 5 plus 2, 7 is the cost. Then R1 to R3, there is another path available. There is another path available. What is another path means? I can go in this direction also. Okay, I can go in this direction. So different directions you can have. So it is going to find all the various possibilities. Okay, for all the possibilities it is going to take. Then from this, which is the shortest path, we are going to calculate. Now you see, there are two paths available, R1 to R3, there are two paths available. So if I go in this particular path, okay, there are 7, okay, the cost is 7. There is one more path available, the cost is 15. So in this, which is the shortest means only the minimum value. So this is going to be my shortest path. So you are going to create the shortest path tree. Then from that, it will select the best path from a particular source to the particular destination. Now you can see the 7th one. Next one you can see here. Okay, it is going to make, okay, it is just removing. You see there are something, okay, extra will be available. So here what they will do means they will calculate the best path. Okay, they will calculate the best path. Okay, so it will select only the best path. I have two paths, but all the two is not going to select. Any one will be selected. Whichever the less cost will be selected. Okay, same like this. This is the last step. So there are, okay, actually what is the difference between the 6th step and 7th step is, in the 6th step you are creating the shortest path tree. In the 7th step you are selecting the best path and moving to the routing table. Okay, it will be moving to the routing table. So the routing table will be available like this. This is your routing table. So from this shortest path tree, the routing table will be created. Okay, routing table will be created. This is the 7 steps. So just you can go through these 7 steps. Okay, step by step you have to go. Okay, we are not going to do any labs for this. Okay, but these are the how the protocol, that means how the link state routing protocol is working. So this is the way you have to explain. Okay. Okay, you can see the next topic, advantages and disadvantages of link state routing protocol. Okay, if you go for the advantages, what is advantage means? Okay, see, each router build its own topology map. So every router is going to have its own topology. This is what we discussed. Everybody is going to receive the LSP. link state packets they are going to receive from others. They are going to make it as a database. So using the database, they are going to create the SPF, shortest path tree. Okay, it is going to create. So every router will have the knowledge about the complete topology diagram. Then they are going to determine the shortest path. So using that, they are going to determine the shortest path. Then immediate flooding of LSP achieves faster convergence. So now flooding. This is okay. We discussed this in the previous slides. So what is the flooding means? If a router is receiving a packet, if the router is receiving a LSP packet from the another router, immediately the router will forward it to the next. Okay, so they are going to share. They are going to share the LSP packets. Okay, received. So that is called the flooding. So if you have flooding, okay, you will have a very faster convergence. Okay, you will have a very faster convergence. Then LSP are sent only when there is a change in the topology diagram. So first time they will do flooding. LSP will be exchanged. After that, no need to do any exchange. If the topology is working, no problem. Suppose if there is any change in the topology, if a network is not working, if a network is okay, some power failure, any issue happen, then only they will send the LSP again. But if you see in the RIP protocol, every 30 seconds they are going to exchange the routing information. But here, okay, it is not like that. Only if there is any change in the topology diagram, then only they are going to exchange the LSPs. Okay, link state packets. Then hierarchical design using when implementing the multiple areas. Okay, we are going to study in lecture number 7. Okay, this is 5. Lecture number 6 is a single area. Lecture number 7 is a multiple area. Okay, we are going to study. So in multiple areas, if you are having means, definitely you have to go for the link state routing protocol. So it is going to maintain some hierarchy. So this point you may not understand here. You will understand this point only after completing lecture number 7. Okay, so it is having a hierarchy design, but we discussed in the distance vector, it is flat topology, a flat design of topology. Okay, the distance vector will support. But link state routing protocol, it is supporting the dynamic. Okay, that means the hierarchical design. Now, moving on to the disadvantages. What are the disadvantages means? Okay, it needs more power. Power means the CPU. It is going to have consume more CPU. The processing memory, okay, it will take more because it will do lot of calculations. It is just taking all the LSPs. You have to save it in the router. It needs more memory. Then from the collection of LSPs, they are going to create a table or a tree that is called the shortest path first tree. Okay, they will make a tree like this, SPF tree. Then from the SPF tree, they will select the best path and they will move it to the routing table. So routing table, I want to save. I need memory for this. I want to save this SPF. Okay, for this I need memory. Plus I'm collecting all the LSP packets, link state packets I'm receiving from others. I need more memory for that. So this protocol, that means the link state routing protocols, they will consume more bandwidth. Okay, more bandwidth. They will need more memory. They need more CPU processing. That's it. So 3 things. Link state routing protocols, they need more memory, additional memory is needed. They require more CPU processing and they need more bandwidth. Bandwidth means like exchanging the packets. So these are all the drawbacks. Okay, disadvantages of link state routing protocol. Now, you can see here, we talk about the areas. Okay, see, this is area 1, okay, area 0. This is area 1 and this is area 15. Now, LSPs, the link state packets, LSPs, it will go only in that particular area. Okay, the LSPs will rotate only within this area it is going to run. So you see, LSP is not flooded to the other areas. Okay, suppose, okay, this router is giving an LSP, link state packet means the link state packet will reach only these routers. It will reach only these routers. It is not going to reach the routers in the other. Okay, so this is one of the advantage. Okay, this is called the hierarchical design. Okay, you see area 0 is the boss. You will see in the next class. Okay, we are going to configure the OSPF. So he is going to be the boss. So now under the area 0, we are having area 1 and area 51. Okay, so this is going to be a hierarchy. A hierarchy is maintained here. Okay, a hierarchy is maintained. Okay, this is the top. So after that we are having area, okay, another. Now with area 51, I can connect someone like this. So this is going to be the hierarchies. So wherever the hierarchy coming, okay, automatically you need the link state routing protocol. Okay, so this is what is the important point here. What you have to understand here, the link state routing, sorry, LSP, link state packets. The link state packets will be, okay, it will be circulated or it will be used only within this group, within this area. Okay, it is not going to reach the next area. Okay, this is the very important point. Now, so I'm going for the next one. Examples. If you go for the link state routing protocols, the best example is OSPF. Open shortest path first. Open shortest path first. This is one of the very interesting protocol. Okay, so this is one of the interesting or popular, okay, whatever the word you want, you can use it. So OSPF is one of the important protocol as far as the routing is concerned. Now, so this protocol was started in 1987. It was introduced, okay, around nearly 30 years, okay, nearly 30 years. So over, still we are using the OSPF protocol. There are two different versions available currently, OSPF v2, OSPF v3. These are the two different versions available. So v2, it is for the IPv4 networks. For IPv4 networks, okay, OSPF v2 is used, and OSPF v3 is used for IPv6 networks. Okay, for IPv6 networks, we are using, okay, OSPF version 3. Then, next one, we have one more protocol. It is called the ISIS. This is also a link state routing protocol, but we are not going to study in our course ISIS. We are going to study only the OSPF, and this protocol was designed by the ISO, okay, International Organization of Standardization, and this is also a good protocol. People are using it. ISIS also, it is available, okay, it is, people are using this protocol. So this is about the example. Okay, so what is the example for link state routing protocols? Okay, now I'm going for the next topic. So the next topic is routing table entries. Okay, this is, we are going to cover for the next 3-4 pages. This is the last, I think, the last topic here. Now, routing table entries. We are going to study about the routing tables. Okay, what is the command you know? So the command to display the routing table is show, okay, IP route. That is a command. Show IP route. So if you give the command like this, show IP route, it will display the routing table. Okay, it will display the routing table. Now we are going to see this routing table very closely, and we are going to do some analysis, or we are going to study about the things. Now you can see this is a command. Okay, I'm using the command show IP route. Now it is going to display the routing table. This is a routing table of a router. Now about this we are going to study. Okay, what are the things available inside? Okay, there are so many things available like S, C, L, R. There are so many things available. So about this only we are going to study now. Okay, now we can see the first category. What is the first category? There are so many things available. I'm taking the first category. What is the first category? Means directly connected entries. About this we discussed in the last class in our topology diagram. C, there is a letter C will come first. Whenever if you see C, it is going to be directly connected. Okay, now you see this is a directly connected 172.16.1.0. This is a network. So this network is a directly connected network. Okay, this network is a directly connected network. You can see the word directly connected. and this network is also a directly connected network. So we are having the first type of entry. What is the first type of entry means? That is called directly connected entries. So directly connected entries, it will be always given as C or L. L also they can use. So this is a directly connected entry. Okay, and this is a directly connected entry. You can see the word directly connected is given here. This is a directly connected entry, and this is a directly connected entry. So the first type of entry available in a routing table. So what is that? That is called, okay, C. You can find it as C, that is directly connected. So C or L also you can use the, okay, letter L also. Okay, so this is directly connected entry. That means that networks are directly connected with that router. Okay, so this is the concept. Okay, so this is the first one. Then if you go for the second type of entry, the second type of entry is, okay, remote entries, remote network entries. So remote network entries means this is not directly connected, this is available somewhere. Okay, this is available somewhere. Okay, now you can see the remote networks. Okay, the remote network entries, if you see, okay, it will be available in this format. The remote entries will be available in this format. Okay, now I will give you an example. Okay, you see R. R means this is RIP protocol, that is called the source. Which protocol is giving? R means routing protocol, RIP. So the RIP protocol is giving this information. This is not directly connected. Okay, now you can see this routing table, you will understand. See, in this routing table, okay, see, all these things are remote networks. Okay, I'll use a different color so that you can understand. These are all, okay, remote networks. So remote networks means it is not directly connected, they are available somewhere. These are all the, okay, remote networks. So remote networks, you can see some protocols will be available. Okay, if you use OSPF protocol, there will be some letter will come here. If you use the RIP protocol, R is coming. So these are all the remote networks. These are all not directly connected. Okay, now you can see what is available here. This is R. Okay, this is the RIP protocol. Now this is the ID. That means the network ID. The remote network ID. This is the subnet mask. This is the subnet mask. Then, and this is 120. So what is this 120 means? This is called, okay, I want everybody to listen carefully. If you use RIP protocol, the RIP protocol will give 120 here. It will display 120 here. Okay, the RIP protocol is, okay, showing 120 here. If you use a static route, see, this is a static route, but this is 000. It is a default route. But, excuse me, if you see here, this is going to be 1. Okay, so 120 for the RIP protocol, there is some number giving. Okay, it's coming down, no need to worry. So 120 is the number I'm seeing if I use the RIP protocol. But if I use the static routing, I'm seeing the number as 1 here. What is this, teacher? No need to worry, I will answer in this particular part. Okay, I will answer here. Now, this is the second thing. Then you can see 1 or 2. What is this means? This is called the hop jumps. If you want to go to 176.16.30.0, if you want to reach this network, you want to make 2 jumps. You want to make 2 jumps. Okay, what is the meaning? See, I'm here in this router. So if I want to go to 172.16.3.0, okay, this is 1 and this is going to be 2. So if I want to reach 172.16.3, I want to make 2 jumps. Okay, I want to make 2 jumps. If I make 2 jumps, I will reach. This is the meaning. So this is called the jump. Okay, hop. This is going to be the jump. So if you make 2 jumps, you will reach this network. If you make 2 jumps, you can reach this network. So this is called the jumps. Then The next one is via. Via means this is the distance. 1 is the distance, 2 is the distance, 2 is the distance. So you have to make 2 distance. What is via means? Via is the direction. Okay, via is the direction. Okay, via means suppose this is the IP address. So through this IP address, if you go, or you can say this serial 0 by 0 by 0. If through serial 0 by 0, if you take 2 jumps, you will reach the destination. So this is called the distance value, and this is called the vector. Vector means direction. So in which vector you have to travel? Vector means direction. So this is going to be the remote. Okay, this is the remote. No need to worry. The same thing I'm going to show it here, and I will explain you very clearly. See, I'm taking a entry. This is called the remote entry. This is a remote network. This is not directly connected. So this information is coming to me by using R. So R is the root source. What is the source? RIP protocol is my source. The RIP protocol is giving this information to me. Then this is my destination. This is my destination. Okay, for example, this is, let it be Muscat. Muscat is my destination. Okay, now what is this? This is going to be, okay, your subnet mask. This is not administrative distance value. This is wrong. That's why the diagram is wrong. That's why I'm telling. So this is 28 is the subnet mask. Then what is the administrative distance value means? You can say this is administrative distance value. Okay, this is administrative distance value. Now I'm going to give some technical information here. Okay, listen carefully. Now, if you take, there are a lot of routing protocols available. There are plenty of routing protocols available. We are going to study only 2. We are studying RIP protocol and we are studying the OSPF routing protocol. If you take the routing protocols, every routing protocol is going to have something called a value that is called AD. That is the administrative distance value. For every routing protocol, the administrative value will be available. Administrative distance value. Okay, for every routing protocol. Now, if you take the RIP protocol, for the RIP protocol, the administrative distance value is 120. Okay, the administrative distance value is 120. If you take OSPF protocol, for the OSPF routing protocol, the administrative value is going to be 90. So there are plenty of routing protocols available. Every routing protocol is going to have a administrative distance value. So that administrative distance value is coming here. Now, by seeing this, I will tell this is RIP. I don't want to see this R. Even if you close that R, if you just remove that R, I can tell this is a RIP protocol. Why? Because the administrative distance value of the RIP protocol is 120. Then the next one is, it is going to be the metric. Okay, this is the metric. So metric is nothing, it is the hop. That means the jump. Okay, this is going to be the hop. Then via. Via means the exit. The next hop. This is going to be your direction, vector. Now you can see this is going to be the time. Okay, so time means this will be keep on changing. Okay, the timestamp will be keep on changing. So you no need to worry about this now. This is the name of the interface. Okay, so serial 0 by 0 is having this IP address. Okay, this IP address. So these are the information. I'll just clear everything. I just make it in a simple way. Let me tell. Okay, I cleared everything. I'm going to repeat in a very easy way. Now you see. So routing table. In routing table, there are 2 different types of entries we are discussing. So the first type of entry we already discussed. The first type of entry is directly connected. The first type of entry is directly connected. So for directly connected, you will be having the letter C. Okay, you will be having the letter C. Okay, C will be available. So C means it is directly connected. Now, the second type is remote. remote entries. So for the remote entries, okay, for the remote entries, you will have any protocol. Okay, you may be having any routing protocol. Okay, any routing protocol will be used. So in this example, we are discussing about the RIP. Okay, so this is called a remote entry. This is called a remote entry. So this is a remote. Okay, that means this network is a remote network. It is not available. It is not directly connected. So you can see what are the things available here means the first one is the source from where this information is coming or who is giving. Then what is the destination? What is the subnet mask? Okay, that means the CID or value. Then this is the administrative distance value. For every routing protocol, there will be administrative distance value. For the RIP protocol, it is 120. Then this is going to be the jump. That means the number of hops. Okay, that is called the metric. Then via distance. So that means direction. Which? Okay, which interface? Okay, that is a serial. Okay, automatically your packet will reach. So this is about okay the second type of entry. Okay. So there are two different types of entries we discussed. Okay, routing table entries. The first one is the directly connected entries and second one is the remote network entries. It's not a very big concept. Okay, it's not going to be a very tough concept. So just if you see, you can understand. Okay, in a very easy way, you will understand. Okay, now, so the next topic we are going to discuss is routing table terms. Okay, routing table terms. So almost we completed. Okay, the same thing is going to repeat now. See, if you take a routing means the routes are discussed. Okay, the routes are discussed in terms of 4. Okay, what are they? Routes are discussed in terms of ultimate route, level 1 route, level 1 parent route, level 2 child route. We discussed two different types of routes. Okay, we discussed two types of routes. One is directly connected route and second one is the remote route. Okay, we discussed that. Now, in the remote route if you take, okay, there are some different types available. Okay, there are some different types available. There are 4 different types available. Okay, the concept is nothing. Okay, it is not going to be difficult concept. You can see. So one is called ultimate route. Second one is called the level 1 route, level 1 parent route, level 2 child routes. Okay, these are the 4 different things. Okay, now I'm going for the first type of route. Okay, which is called the ultimate route. Okay, what is ultimate route? See, an ultimate route is a routing table entry that contains either a next hop IP address or a exit interfaces. That means anything which is having directly connected, dynamically learned and linked local routes. These are called ultimate routes. What is this, teacher? We already completed. Directly connected, we saw in the previous slide. What is directly connected? It will start with C or L. Okay, plus dynamically learned. Dynamically learned means, okay, the second type, remote. Okay, using any routing protocol. Then link local, if anything start with L. All these things are called ultimate routes. I don't have anything to explain. So what is ultimate route? Ultimate route is a collection. It is everything. It is directly connected plus dynamically learned. Dynamically learned means remote and link local. Okay, now you see this is a routing table. In this routing table, okay, I take everything. See, C means directly connected, L means okay locally connected or RIP protocol. So all these things I'm going to say it is okay ultimate routes. Everything it is going to be ultimate routes. Okay, ultimate routes. So here everything is going to be ultimate route. These are all ultimate routes. Okay, and this is also static route, also directly connected. This is also a ultimate route, but there's something missing. Okay, this is the point. There is something missing. What is this? You will see it in the next type. Okay, it will be something a different type. You can see the word subnets. Okay, subnets available. So what is that subnets and all? Okay, we can see it in the next one. Okay, you will understand this is. So what is a ultimate route? Ultimate route is a collection of directly connected routes plus dynamically learned, that is called the remote routes, plus local link routes, even static routes. Okay, everything it will become okay ultimate route. This is the first type of route. Now I'm going for the next one, level 1 root. Okay, so what is a level 1 root? Means you can see a root with a subnet mask, okay, a subnet mask equal or less than, okay, mask equal to or less than the classful mask of the network. Therefore, a level 1 root can be a, okay, now you see there is a word subnet mask. You know what is a subnet mask? Subnet mask equal to or less than classful. Classful. Okay, now you can see what is classful, what is classless. Okay, you have to understand what is classful, what is classless. So classful means, okay, try to understand. Classful means if the subnet mask is 8, 16, 24. If the subnet mask is 8, if the subnet mask is 16 or 24, this is called classful. Suppose if you do any subnetting, okay, that is called classless. Try to understand. This is a very important point. I repeat the point. Suppose I'm using subnet mask /9. I'm using subnet CIDR value. CIDR value, subnet mask, anything same. So I'm using CIDR value /9 or 10/10/11, 12 means this is called classless, no class for that. Because you have borrowed some bits. You have done subnetting. If there is no subnetting, if you are not doing any subnetting, okay, I'm writing /8. Okay, you can see here. See. 24/24. Okay, what is the class? 24 means what? Can anyone answer? /24 belongs to which class? The CIDR value. CIDR value, which class it is? Class A, class B, class C?
C.
Class C. So this is a classful IP address. 24, this is class C, this is class full, they have not done any subnetting. But if you see here, /28 is available. So what is /28 means? They borrowed 4 bits here. They borrowed 4 bits, 24 plus 4. Now I'm going to say this is classless. Okay, this is classless. Now, what is level 1 root means? Level 1 parent root means subnetting done, but it should be classful. It should be classful. Okay, now you see in this routing table, you see this is subnetted. I make subnetted. They have done subnetted. So I mark this. Okay, so here what is the concept? It should be subnetted, but it is going to have 16 classful. So this is a classful subnet, and here you can see a classful subnet. Now this I'm going to say it is a level 1 parent. It is a level 1 parent. So in the level 1 parent root, okay, you will do subnetting. Subnetting is allowed. Okay, subnetting is allowed. Okay, you can see the network root, okay, supernet root, okay, then default root. So you will do subnetting, but you will use classful. Okay, I don't know you remember or not. We discussed 2 different types of subnetting. First type is fixed length. Fixed length subnetting. Second one is the VLSM, variable length subnetting. This is fixed length. So in fixed length, okay, the subnet mask will be same for everybody. 24, 24, 24 or 16, 16, 16. So it will be same for everybody, but for in the VLSM, in the variable length subnet mask, okay, it is going to change. So in the level 1 parent root, what is that means? You will have subnetting plus you are going to have, okay, a class full, okay, a class full subnet mask will be available. So this is going to be the first one. Then I'm going for the next one, level 2 child. Okay, what is level 2 child? Level 2 child root is a root that is subnet of a classful network address. Okay, you can see the example. I'll just directly go to the example. Okay, you can see this example. Okay, see 172.16.4.28. Okay, I'm taking this. I'm taking level 2. This is classless. And here I'm taking another one. This is classful. So I'm taking classful. This is classless. So this is classful. So now I'm taking all which are subnetted. Okay, everything, all the roots which are subnetted. Okay, you see there are 5 subnets available. Okay, 3 different subnet masks. So all the 5 subnets I'm going to take it here. So this is going to be the next level. Okay, this is going to be the next level. So in the level 2, okay, or in the second type, okay, level 2 child, okay, you can have all the subnets, okay, which includes everything, which is going to be like a classful or classless, everything will be included. Okay, everything will be included. Now, okay, this part I will come to this later. Now I'm going for the next one. Okay, yeah, that's only 2 types they are explaining. Okay, that's it. So only level 1, level 2 they are explaining. So the other is not available. Okay, so up to this, okay, actually there are 4 available. All the 4 is not explained to you. Okay, I'll show you. See, so level ultimate root they explain. Level 1, okay, they are, oh, okay, I think they mix these together. Okay, so level 1 root and level 1 parent they mix together. Level 2 child they are giving. Okay, make it very simple. Ultimate means directly connected, dynamically learn, link local. This is ultimate. Level 1, okay, either parent, okay, actually parent is given. What is level 1 means? It is subnetted with classful. And this is subnetted with classful and classless. Okay, everything they are taking. So this is. So this one, I think for explanation, okay, okay, you study, that's it. I don't want to tell anything. Okay, not a very important question comparing with the previous things. Okay, so this is what I want to say, but just these words are very important. You can just go through the basic concepts. Okay, now I'm going for the next topic. The next topic you can see, okay, the 8th topic here, root lookup process. Okay, so we will finish in another 10 minutes. Okay, now what is a root lookup process? Okay, that means a router is going to decide, okay, a router is going to decide which path I can select. Okay, a router is going to decide which path I'm going to select. Now, for that, we need to follow some methods. Okay, we already know it is going to be the shortest path, okay, like that. Now, if the best match is a level 1 ultimate route, then the route will forward it to the packet. Give more importance for the ultimate routes. If the ultimate route is best, okay, we discussed what is ultimate route. It is a collection of directly connected, okay, it is a collection of remote, okay, or the link local. If you have a best choice in the ultimate route, forward your packet. Then, if the best match in the level 1 parent route, suppose I don't have ultimate route is not available, means go to the next one. The next one is going to be the parent route. Suppose I don't have the root in the parent one also, go for the child root. Go for the child root. Okay. Then if there is a match with the child root, that subnetted is used. Okay. You can, if suppose if there is a match available in the child root, you can use it. Okay. You have to go for step by step. But most of our network, okay, will have ultimate roots only. Okay. Most of our networks, if you are not doing subnetting, it will be using only ultimate routes. If there is any subnetting and all, okay, that means you can see it in the OSPF. Okay, while implementing OSPF, you will understand all these things. Okay, now first give more importance to the ultimate route, then go for the level 1 route, then go for the child routes. Okay, suppose then level 2, level 3 it is going on, but we have not studied level 2 child and all. So you can go in the hierarchy, in the same order you have to go. Then finally, I don't have any roots, there is nothing available. I don't have ultimate, I don't have parent, I don't have child 1, child 2, okay, level 1, okay, nothing is available for me. What I can do? Go for the default route. Go for the default route. Okay, finally, there is no roots available means, okay, we have to use the default route. Default route, we already discussed about this. It will be like 0.0.0.0. if nothing is matching, if nothing is fine, okay, matching with me, I can use the default route. I can use it. This is 0.0.0.0. Okay, then if there is now a lesser match with level 1 supernet, okay, or the default routes, the router uses the route to the forward. If there is no match, okay, with any routing table, the packet will be dropped. So if there is no default route, okay, if there is no default routes, so what will happen means your packet will be dropped. Okay, I can tell this in a very simple way. First, take the ultimate route. If the ultimate is not available, go for the parent, level 1 parent. If the level 1 parent is not available, go for the level 2 child. If level 2 child is not available, go for, okay, default. If the default is not available, drop the packet will be dropped. Finished. Okay, the packet will be dropped. This is, so you are going to search one by one. Okay, one by one you are going to search. So if the route is not available, your packet will be dropped. So this is what explained here. Now you can see here. Okay, see, I want to go to this destination. Okay, you see, I want to go to 172.16.10.0. This is my destination. I am converting this into binary. Your routing protocol will do like this. Then I am going to take the first route, second route, third route. So the first route is this, second route is this, the third route is this. Okay, now I am converting this into, again, okay, I am converting this into binary. Okay, I am converting this into binary. Now you can see there are 12 bits available. There are 12 bits available in the host. So I take first 12 bits. Here I have 18 bits in the host, 18 bits. I have 26 bits in the host. I am taking 26 bits. Now this is my destination. I want to go here. There are 3 paths. Okay, this is the first path, this is the second path, this is the third path. So you don't worry about whether ultimate or, okay, level 1, level 2, no need to worry about it. I have 3 paths. I have 3 paths. So this is the path 1, this is the path 2, path 3. Okay, that means the route 1, route 2, route 3. Okay, now I want to decide which one. Okay, so this is my destination. This is my destination. Now what I'm going to do means I'm going to have a match. Okay, that means your routing protocol is going to do the match. So this is only up to this is it is matching. This route up to only this it is matching. And this route it is matching up to this. So I'm going to select, this is my best path, I'm going to select. Okay, so I saw this question, they asked this question in one semester, the final exam. So they gave some examples, okay, IP packets, sorry, IP address. They gave 3 routes, which one will be selected? Okay, this is, so you have to do the maximum matching. Okay, see, this is only up to, okay, 12 bits it is matching, only up to this is it is matching. But this route is matching up to this, okay, because 18 bits, and this route it is matching up to 26 means this is going to be the best path. Your router will select this path and packet will be sent. Okay, if you want to go to 172.16.0.10, this is going to be the best path for you. Okay, so this is called matches for packets. So how the packets will be matched in the routing table, okay, how the packets will be matched to find the best route. Okay, so this is the concept. Now, so up to this the lecture is over. The next part is IPv6. Okay, the same thing will be available for IPv6. Okay, except IP address. So in IPv4, okay, in IPv4 you will have IPv4 address. This is IPv4 address. This is IPv4 address. But now what we are going to do, we are going to have IPv6 address. Okay, so the entire concept is same. Everything is going to be similar. Okay, see, the components of IPv6 routing table are very similar to IPv4 addressing table. Same concepts, directly connected, okay, static routes, dynamically learned routes, level 1 route, level 2 route, ultimate routes, everything will be same. But what is the only difference means, the difference is going to be the IP address. Now you can say this is a IPv6 address. Teacher, can I memorize all these things? No need, don't memorize, okay, just understand the concept. Now you can see the same thing, directly connected, linked, okay, locally connected, okay, this is learned remote, this is connect, okay, this is learned by using routing protocols. So everything will be same, the concept will be everything same other than the IP address. So this is a IPv6 address 2001 DB8 CAFE 11:18 bits length. Okay, so this is going to be the IPv6 address. This is the concept. Now you see the command. We use the command show IP root. This is the command we used that in IPv4. In IPv6, I'm going to use the command show IPv6. V6 I'm going to add. Okay, I'm showing you the difference. Okay, the difference in the commands. So if I use IPv6, okay, this is going to be the IPv6 table. IPv6 routing table. Okay, so there is no difference between how the routing concept is working. There is no difference, but only the concept is, okay, the difference is going to be in the IP address. Now you can see there is one more thing. Okay, you see they are taking, this is a remote, okay, this is a directly connected route. So directly connected means it is going to be C. Okay, you can see this is the IP address. Okay, so it is directly connected. Okay, directly connected in this particular interface. So there is nothing to worry about it. The same concept we are using now, IPv6 concept. Now you can see this is a remote. This is a remote entry. Okay, so D, this is the name of a protocol, the protocol which is giving this information. So we already discussed, this is the destination. Then this is the administrative distance value. Now you see the administrative distance value is 90. Before we saw 120. 120 is the administrative distance value. So this is the administrative distance value, and this is going to be the metric. Metric means like hop count, jump. So jumping, okay, how many routers you cross, but here this is something like a bandwidth. Okay, this is the metric. Now this is the next hop, and this is going to be the name of the interface. The same concept, what is changing here? IP address is changed. So we are using a IPv6 address in this place. Okay, now the next one, you can see the same thing available, remote entries. This is a routing table. So this is a remote entry. This is a remote entry. You must know this. If I am giving a routing table in exam, you must know which is a remote entry net, okay, and which is a directly connected. Okay, you must know that. Now, so this is a remote entry. I will make, okay, directly connected. This is directly connected. This is directly connected. This is directly connected. This is directly connected. So these are all directly connected. Okay, this is also a directly connected. So directly connected network. So concept is same. Okay, the way we are handling the routing table is same, but you will use the IPv6 address, you will use it. Okay, that is the concept here. Okay, so the next one, yeah, that is the end. Okay, this is finished. So this is the end of this particular lecture. So this lecture is not going to be a very difficult lecture. It is just a basic thing. Okay, it's a basic thing. Okay, how the routing protocols, okay, how the routing protocols is going to deal with the routing table, or how they are making